I feel like based on what we were just saying that we've already built the relationship that Mark and Tom kind of had at the end, where it's like it's just all business. Like, hey man, how's it going? Should we fucking do this? And that's it.
Honestly, I respect that. I perfectly understand Tom's position in Blink now as someone that was not interested in chit-chatting with you in the 30 seconds before we started recording this podcast.
Yeah, it's just like, look, we're here for the fans, not for each other.
And the money.
And the money.
Which one of us do you think is the Mark or is the Tom? Like, who's the most 1 foot out the door?
Oh, well, if it's just based on that, then I think it's you. Because you're the one who seems to have a wildly busy schedule, whereas I've pretty much dedicated my entire life to this at this point.
Yeah, you've committed sooner and with more verve than I have.
Who would have expected that, actually? I'm surprising myself.
Yeah, you've really taken to it. I don't think anyone could have predicted the sort of copious note-taking and research. Like, that's pretty astounding.
I've never put this much effort into anything.
Yeah.
But I think it's because the idea is so incredibly stupid that I have no choice but to treat it with gravitas.
I can understand that. Now, what are the other ways? Because it felt like you were sort of traveling down a path there, and I interrupted you in terms of who's the Tom, who's the Mark.
I think there's other criteria. I mean, in terms of the commitment till I die to doing one idea over and over again, I think I'm Mark.
Yeah.
But in terms of maybe having less of a filter and putting their foot in their mouth more often and kind of being generally a little bit manic, I feel more like Tom.
That's interesting. Okay. Because I feel like I am.
Because let's be honest, you're more of a people pleaser than me.
Yeah, I'm the nice one, as we established, sort of via Twitter, sort of through several episodes of this podcast. But I think it's officially been cemented by someone tweeting at the show on Twitter and not knowing who was who and just saying the mean one and the nice one, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, we all know what they mean.
Yeah, it's not like Tom was mean, but Mark was definitely the nice one.
But the question is, and I'm not suggesting anything, I'm asking the question, but how genuine are those niceties? You know what I mean? I mean, is it just like having a filter so that people don't get their feelings hurt? That's why I feel more like Tom, because I just like don't think before I speak, and then I burn bridges constantly.
But you're also saying like you're real and I'm a massive poser.
I think that is what I'm getting at.
Okay. Gosh.
No. This you've also mentioned that it's because you have the YouTuber personality where you want to make everyone feel included, and I'm like not good at that.
I appreciate that. I am sort of frequently trying to deflect and blaming several years in the trenches of YouTube content for my desperate need to be liked.
Whereas I not only am I not like that, but I actually kind of like it when people are snobby to me and don't include me in other things. Like when I go to like a hardcore show and I feel like I shouldn't be there because I'm not welcomed in. I kind of like that feeling. Well, I think it's good. It's like they're protecting themselves from me, a gentrifier.
You were one of the first people to write a Canadian music is terrible think piece, which eventually became, an industry in and of itself.
Right.
But several years ago, when did you write that?
Oh, I don't even remember.
So when you were the editor of Calgary's
Fast Forward Weekly.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Which again, I'm not saying anything for certain, but I feel like our dwindling ad revenues was like on some sort of chart relative to how hot my takes were about certain things. It was like I'm a real liability.
Yeah. So those takes eventually manifested themselves in the form of a cover story that was called "Canadian Music is Terrible." What was the title?
It was "Canadian Music is Boring."
Right. And pulling no punches.
And I made friend of the pod, Mark Teo, write it with me, and poor Mark put his name on it, but I feel like he was the one like writing the smart things, and I was the one just like making puns in order to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah, knowing both of you much better now, I can recognize who was responsible for what in this article that sounds relatively harmless. And if you're listening to this show from not inside of the Canadian music industry, it's probably hard to imagine how something like that could have significant ramifications in a thriving culture industry. But that story got you guys in a world of shit.
It did. Well, actually, a lot of positive came out of it too, and like, I don't know. It was like, the problem was that so the article was basically about the Polaris Prize, which is coming up again, and
which I produce, by the way. I think it's
Sam produces it.
To note that I produce this show.
Well, I am still a juror on the Polaris as well.
I thought you got kicked off because you never voted.
I did. I got kicked off. So this article was about how all the Canadian artists who were nominated for the Polaris Music Prize were boring, and I feel like I just wanted to write that article. Like I've just like loved to stir the pot, obviously, as you can tell.
You're such a bad man, Josiah.
But also the problem is that Mark, who I wrote this with, is really like, he's such a sweet man, and he's so idealistic that he just thinks that everyone's gonna like get the point. Like he's like, oh, you're not saying Canadian music is bad, you're just saying it's boring. That's fine. No one's gonna argue with that. That'll be fine.
Yeah.
Put it on the cover. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, Mark. Everyone does think like you. Similarly, I wrote an article for Vice one time about how all the rappers in Calgary were bad. And Mark was like, surely anyone who reads this article will see the headline and say, yes, after reading this article, I agree with it. It's a correct assessment. But I actually got death threats for that one. Like actual death threats. So basically, I have slowed down a little bit because I don't listen to Mark anymore, because he's really he believes in people too much, you know?
Yeah, he sounds like a terrible influence.
Yeah, well, it's just like someone needs to say to me, no, don't write that. Don't say that.
Yeah, get that positivity out of here. Get your sort of assumption about people's open minds out of Josiah's mind, at least.
Exactly. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm not really looking to start a debate either. That was the other thing about this article, is that it started this nationwide debate, and people were asking me to talk on panels and stuff. And I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to like start some shit online.
You just wanted to talk shit, and people took you seriously.
Exactly. Like, what's wrong with that?
Now, whenever anyone tries to argue that Canada is not tiny and extremely pedestrian, there is an anecdote for you. Like, can you imagine if the Alt Weekly in Phoenix wrote an article that was like, American music sucks, and they were subsequently invited to panels all across the country?
Well, then, exactly. Like, so then I write this article in Canada, and then whatever, 5 years later, I go to Mark Tio's wedding, and you, the producer of the Polaris, is there, and like everyone who runs the Polaris, and we're all at a wedding together, and it's just like awkward as hell. I mean, not that you made it awkward, but the other people were. I was just like, are they gonna like get drunk and fight me?
Who do you think at Mark Tio's wedding was going to get drunk and fight you for saying that the Polaris Prize was boring?
No, I'm just joking. But it is. But the point is that you do end up like, and I think that was a naive thing on my part. Like when I first moved to Calgary, I was like, I'm just going to be honest and review concerts. And I gave all these like local bands bad reviews. And there's people that still hate me because of that, like 10 years later. There are people who flip me off across bars as if we're in high school. You just assume that nothing will affect you, or that no one will ever care about anything you write. I remember doing a review of a Closet Monster record, which was a punk band from Ajax. They started a record label called Underground Operations. They were like kind of aping G7's thing, where they were, flat organizationally. It was, run by sort of socialist principles as a business, and they were putting out other punk bands from their area. So like the first couple of Protest the Hero releases. And then all of those guys joined Avril Lavigne's band, which that's so sick.
Was like in retrospect so sick, but as like a young punk person, this sloganeering, extremely political band joining Avril Lavigne's touring band felt like the most sort of distilled vision of what selling out looked like that you could ever, like you couldn't write it. And so I wrote a review of their record, to that effect, like, if playing in Avril Lavigne's band is punk, then Closet Monster or Minor Threat, and forgot about it. And years later, the singer and bass player in that band, became sort of a big shot in the Canadian music industry. He worked for Universal. He signed incredible punk bands like Stereos. And at some point finally confronted me about it and was like, can you like erase that from the internet or something? And I was like, no, that's not how the internet works. But I was like, this guy has clearly been harboring, you know, a grudge against me that I had forgotten about for like years because I'd made fun of him for being a giant sellout.
Well, yeah, it's also just interesting because there's so much content now, and there's no one writing like one column a week anymore unless you're like Margaret Wente or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like writing like tons of shit all day every day, and so it does become more subconscious sometimes. Like sometimes it really bums out writers when I say that because they think that every word that they ejaculate out is so precious. But honestly, you just write. You have to write so much that it kind of becomes subconscious, and then you just forget that you even wrote something. Even positive things I write. Like I was looking at a Kanye West single on Wikipedia, and like there was all these quotes from me about the single when I posted it on Exclaim, and I didn't even remember it. And I'm an authority.
You just black out and write about Kanye West.
Exact on the California wiki page, and this I'm not meaning to start a segue because I do have a better idea for segue.
Oh, okay. Because
hold your horses.
Okay.
Hold your horses.
Segue. I'll let you segue.
On the California wiki, in the reception paragraph, I'm the only person who was considered more critical of the album. Like they close it out with me being all bitchy about it. So.
Okay, and you're telling me that you don't want me to transition after that because that feels so perfect.
Well, I just want to conclude that thought by saying I kind of feel like you picking the song Cynical with everything we've been talking about is a little bit pointed at me in a way.
Yeah, of course it is. That's why we picked the song Cynical.
There's a cynical feeling saying I should give up. You said everything you'll ever say. There's a moment of panic when I hear the phone ring. Anxiety's calling in my head. Is it back again? Are you back again?
So you are literally immortalized on the Wikipedia page for California, the record that Cynical opens, as having the lone cynical perspective on California, the record which Cynical opens.
I mean, like, I guess it says, like, others were more critical, but then it just quotes me. So, I don't know.
Were you the only person that wasn't nice about this album?
It did seem like a lot of people were, like, really nice about it.
And you're just off in Calgary being a rude Jude. Speaking truth to power, man.
Did you just call me a rude Jew?
No, I called you rude Jude. Jude.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
Well, no, it's just very important to me to sort of stay...
We all know your actual beliefs behind that nice facade.
Yeah, exactly. I'm reading a book right now about white power music, so it's just leaking out, you know?
I'm writing a book about white power, actually.
Wow, okay, there we go. So I look forward to...
No, I do feel like people were pretty generous about the album, but with this one, with California, I actually, like, listened to it more times than anything else that year, and I really, like, lost sleep at night trying to think about it and decide what I thought. It wasn't just like a quick contrarian opinion. I actually like took it very seriously.
Well, I think it's tough to assess the album, you know, independent of all of the emotional things you feel about it. But also, Cynical is such a great framing device because I think this is the best song on this album. It's the closest thing to like a real ass Blink song on the record, and having it sort of set the table for you can kind of throw you when by track 4 you're into Los Angeles.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, so did you pick this song as a way to confront me for my cynicism? Let's start with that.
Yeah, 100%. And I was trying to do it in a more subtle way, which was using social media to elicit suggestions for this episode from fans, because we've established
so Sam went on Twitter and said, could somebody recommend a song? And you just toyed with them and you teased them.
Yeah.
And then you didn't take any of their suggestions at all, which I think is much worse than me just flat out saying, I'm not going to listen to you guys.
It is.
You gave them the illusion of that they matter.
I mean, yeah. And that's important because it keeps them coming back.
But I'm more into the nagging school of thought.
Okay, yeah. I'm into what's that one called? Gaslighting. Where I'm like, hey, what song should we do? And someone's like, oh, you guys should do Stockholm Syndrome. And I'm like, that's not even a Blink-182 song.
Wait, you don't think it's a Blink-182 song?
No, it is. That's gaslighting.
Oh, right, okay. It almost worked on me.
Yeah, exactly. Soon I will have total emotional control over this podcast. But I wanted to sort of be the cool one, like the cool mom, and listen to the fans and take one of their suggestions. And I didn't like any of the suggestions.
Right. So
they just weren't that good.
Is it not more cynical to tease them?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that what we're talking about now is the sort of facade that I wear, the sort of people-pleasing facade underneath a much crueler soul than you possess as the quote-unquote mean one of the podcast.
Right. That's because I'm just openly mean, and people can take it or leave it. But I'm not. There's no trickery. Like there's some sort of like Sam magic tricks going on that even I feel terrified right now.
So are you saying that you're the mean one, but I'm the cynical one, or am I just the evil one?
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, and we're just basically talking about the word cynical, which I'm fine with. We're never going to talk about the songs anymore. Who cares?
This is a English language podcast. It's
like,
very
really,
serious.
what does it mean to be cynical? That's the question I have, and I also don't understand why it's bad to be cynical.
So cynicism is complicated, I think, is sort of where we've got to on our cynicism pod.
Well, yeah, like for me, I think pretty much a lot of my worldview and way of thinking about things was framed by The Simpsons and Mad Magazine, for real.
Yeah.
And where like even if you love something, you can make fun of it, and it's like almost like fine. So there's that aspect of it, but then also I think that we all just think everything is too good all the time. Like I don't think anything's really good enough. For everyone there should only be like in your lifetime like maybe 50 life-changing pieces of art or something. Like I think there's just too many things that we think are mind-blowing, and I think we could be harder on things to make them better.
This is why you gave the lone negative review of California, isn't it?
Because truly I was cheering for them. I was really excited for them to shake it up, and I was ready to love it. But yeah, I don't know. Like that's just interesting because I don't know if cynicism is bad or not.
So do you feel like this song takes a stance on cynicism?
No, but I feel I just felt personally attacked by your song choice, as I should have.
And yeah, exactly. But you needed to address it.
No, but the opening line, there's a cynical feeling saying that I should give up. I've said everything I need to say. That is like maybe like I do think that a lot of California is good, and I don't ever want to hurt Mark's feelings, but maybe that voice is good to hear sometimes. You know what I mean? Like maybe you shouldn't be writing the same generic things over and over again.
I feel like you're several steps away, but still sort of on a trajectory for eventually writing a millennials are ruining the world type think piece. Like
that is where I really get off board with millennials, is the extreme earnestness.
Yeah, and confidence, though. I feel like you also clearly have a distrust of confidence.
I'm kind of like a little bit pro-bullying, slightly.
Well, I mean, friend of the pod, Justin Taylor, who we've talked about a few times, has a very vocal pro-bullying stance where he feels that it's a valuable social tool, and that ultimately bullying and shaming help keep society functioning by letting people know behaviors that are unacceptable and correcting them.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a very fine line, and there's like a lot of shit that goes too far, but I do think that like people get cheered on a little bit too much especially with music. Like honestly, it's so easy to learn how to play guitar and write a song, and like I don't think that that's very impressive anymore. So
are you saying that Mark should have been bullied more, and maybe this record should not have come out? Like I just want to get a complete sense of your take here.
No, I'm just hovering. I'm just like I'm just wading around in the waters of these lyrics.
Okay, you're trying it out. I remember.
Yeah.
Back
I
when
don't
was
necessarily think that he should, like, especially because this song is pretty sick. I agree with you.
It's a sick jam. But what you said reminded me of an interview that I think his name was Matt, but like the main guy in Ninja High School, which was this like dorky white rap group from Toronto. Like when I think about it now, it's like it was like hipster rap and maybe kind of super awful, but they were sort of
I feel like that I know what you're talking about, and that sort of tongue-in-cheek playful rap accidentally paved the way for LMFAO, I think.
It's so funny because these people, I'm sure, would like loathe the very concept of LMFAO if they pretended that they even knew who LMFAO were. But you're 100% right. And so this band did an interview with Wavelength, which is the sort of the celebrated and storied indie music series in Toronto. It was like responsible for launching all the Torontopia bands back in the day, so like Broken Social Scene and shit. And it was a pay what you can showcase.
The band shit?
No. No, unfortunately, I think they mostly promoted floofier jams. And they would put out a zine every month that had interviews with the bands that were playing at these showcases. And for a while, and I mean, still they do sort of annual events, but for a while, this was like a super integral part of an emerging aesthetic in the city of Toronto. And so the dude from this band did an interview where, you know, in the context of a real boosty DIY type scene, said, not everyone should be in a band. Like some people should run the show, and some people should work at the bar at the show, and some people should make the merch. But like, it's a mistake to assume that everyone's best fucking use is playing music. And he got in so much shit for it. Again, when you consider the sort of context of a super, you know, booster vibe DIY kind of punk and indie scene,
right?
Like, that's sort of heretical because you're like, no, everyone, you know, here's 3 chords, now go start a band. And sometimes you just got to be like, here's 3 chords, but like, just hang out.
Like, I think I almost like, my take is slightly different where it's like, I do actually think that the resources are there, that everyone should start a band, and that it's like really satisfying and an amazing part of your life if you do it. But I also think that you should constantly have that voice in your head saying, why are you doing this? And what are you pushing yourself hard enough? Like, I don't think it's enough to just like start a band and it's funny because I actually once wrote a song called Start a Band that was like very like boostery DIY music for my band Grown Ups. But when I think back on it now, it's like, don't just like buy a guitar and book shows. Like, you should always be questioning everything you do and if it's good enough, and challenging yourself and like pushing yourself. Because otherwise you're just another email in my inbox, and I get 300 every day from desperate struggle garage bands. And
you're going to get a takedown from Josiah that he will forget about and will scar you for the rest of your musical career.
Yeah, no, but I think, and maybe that is why this song is good, because Mark was in that framework of like, should I give up? Can I even write another good song? And then that pushed him to write a good song.
Do you think the first part of the song is like, should I give up? And then the transition is like, nah, but I should definitely hire John Feldman to help me out?
Well, it is funny because it does seem so personal. But then there's like this Fuse TV interview that we've mentioned before where John Feldman does a track-by-track breakdown of California. And in the interview about this song, he kind of makes it seem like he wrote the song in a way.
Really?
Like, well, he says there wasn't a lot of early Blink-182 on the album. No Cheshire Cat or Dude Ranch era stuff because Travis Barker wasn't in the band then. So Feldman says, I skipped over that era, but I knew we needed a fast song. I gave them an option of a fast song, which became Cynical. And like everything on this album, Travis insisted he played in one take. So he's saying he gave them the song. Like, what does that mean?
That's odd.
Yeah. So like, I mean, maybe the lyrics are more personal, but I don't know. And then apparently the part that Matt Skiba sings in halftime is like, he wrote those lyrics, and then I guess the others are Mark. But also, this was like one of the last songs they recorded, so it almost was like cynical in a way. They're like, we need something that sounds like the rest of our old stuff, and we don't have anything fast, so like, here's a song that Feldman wrote, and let's just like Frankenstein it together.
It's funny because I remember naively thinking when this record came out and hearing about the process of putting it together, not going into that much depth because at the time we didn't have a weekly podcast about this band, and I knew I wasn't going to get that information from you, but this idea that they came with a full record and then John Feldman ultimately sort of had them throw it all out and they wrote this whole new record with him, and I kind of thought like, fuck, man, I bet that record had just more straight up cool punk jams. For some reason, that's just what I assumed. And then you get the California bonus tracks and every song sounds like Los Angeles. And you realize that, yeah, maybe John Feldman was the one pushing the kind of classic Blink vibe on them. In which case, like, I don't know how I feel about that because I would say this is my favorite thing on the record. But is it fair? Would I rather love something and never know the truth or have the truth ruin? Okay, you understand what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, I know. It's really weird. And you would just assume that by calling the song Cynical and by it sounding like classic Blink-182 that it would be like the most sort of quote unquote honest or authentic song, but then it's still just like premeditated that they needed something to sound like their old stuff or whatever.
It's actually really meta then, right? So it's like, you think this is a song about overcoming cynicism, when it's in fact, the most sort of cynical thing we could possibly do. And we're going to put it at the front of the record, just to fool you. It's triple cynicism.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Along those lines, like in the same interview, Feldy, my friend Feldy.
Yeah, Feldy. Jay
Felds. He says that Mark's lyrics are about like just being a little bit nervous about what people will think about the new version of Blink-182 and what it'll be like to work with a producer and all this stuff. But everyone online, and I think I kind of agree, but everyone thinks that this is just about Tom.
I mean, I think you can look at so many of the songs on this record as being about Tom, but this one, like She's Out of Her Mind, definitely Tom. This... But this
Tom is a beige little box.
Tom's the form, man. He's filling out those freedom of information requests to get at the truth about aliens.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what that's about. It's about Tom filing the paperwork that would ultimately break the band apart. So back to this song.
The FOIA request.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, definitely looking at, songmeanings.net, you get some sort of hot Tom takes where, it's all about sort of is Tom back, is his negativity back? But then at least this person on Song Meanings thinks that maybe when Matt starts singing, he's actually like inhabiting the voice of Tom and that there's no point in saying sorry.
Right.
Which like that I love. Like I love the idea that it's like a fucking opera.
Totally. Well, I will say like the one part of this song that I really hate is the personification of anxiety. Just anxiety's calling in my head. That line is pretty cringy for me. But otherwise I don't hate the lyrics. Yeah,
they're just sort of generic. I really like the Matt Skiba stuff, but I think that's just because like many people, I first heard this song as an Instagram video on Mark Hoppus's feed. Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with that, actually.
Oh, okay. All I know is like I remember listening to that like a bunch of times and being like, this record is going to be wild sick. And then
really, you thought that? I mean,
I love Matt Skiba, dude. We didn't touch on this on the California episode because I was in such a rush. But
right,
I'm a ski boy.
Is there a lot of harms in Alkaline Trio songs?
Yeah, there's mad harms, but there's also like wicked like emo goth vibes and hooks, man, just beautiful hooks.
I think I've sort of said this before, but I think he really did refine like the mall goth aesthetic long before it was a thing.
Oh no, he's on point with the fashion 100%. But what's the deal with this Instagram video beyond just like I was pumped on it and clearly you were not?
Well, before we get to that, I was just going to say that apparently Matt Skiba's part, like there's this whole Bernstein Bears kind of thing, like or Mandela effect thing on the Blink-182 Reddit. where somebody swears that Matt Skiba once said in an interview that his lyrics are about his divorce.
Oh.
They're like, I swear it was in this NME interview, but the video's been edited and it's been deleted. Like, I don't know. You're a tuber. I don't know if you can actually edit a video once it's live in public.
You can. YouTube does have a editing feature in the back end, so it's possible.
So maybe Skiba was like, "Yo, we gotta cut out the part where I said, what's the point of saying sorry now to my ex-wife?"
Yeah, he's in the middle of a bitter custody battle, and
maybe custody of his Marilyn Manson painting.
Yeah.
Either way, somebody swears that his lyrics are about his divorce, which is like even weirder. Like, then they really just like crammed a bunch of shit together. Like, Mark's talking about not wanting to sing anymore, and then Matt Skiba's like, I got some stuff to say about my divorce.
It is kind of divorced people shit though, right? Like,
yeah, I guess it's like Mark's divorcing Tom.
Yeah.
Skiba's divorcing his wife.
But
then I was trying to find this quote, and then I found a different hilarious thing on the Blink-182 Reddit, which is that no audio clip required, but I'm just going to load it so I can get the title right. Apparently, Matt Skiba's ex-wife, who he has admitted to cheating on, she starred in the Boxcar Racer music video for There Is.
Oh, wow.
Where Tom and Travis are singing in the rain outside. And so, really, Matt Skiba has left a wake of broken hearts with his ex-wife and Tom DeLonge, if you think about it. Perhaps they can sing in the rain together now, whereas Travis has picked the other side.
He was cold.
He's a cold-hearted son of a gun.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, it's raining. He's never got any sleeves on. He weighs 70 pounds soaking wet. Like, there's no way that guy is weather resistant.
He's not even wearing a hat in this video.
It's messed up, man.
Yeah, so either way, I mean, somehow, perhaps she introduced Matt Skiba to the Blink-182 boys, and then everything just fell apart. So I don't know. There's some weird cycle going on here.
Yeah, I think we've certainly uncovered the hundredth of many conspiracies that we will over the course of the show.
Easily the worst tidbit I could come up with.
No, that's a good tidbit, man.
So before we move on from the lyrics completely, I just wanted to also add, I was looking at it on the website songfacts.com.
I like that every time I think I've done a little bit of work by looking at song meanings, you end up on an even more obscure, stupid website. But yeah, it's okay.
Well, yeah.
So
what can I say?
What's on songfacts.org?
You don't get to be the only quoted negative review on the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, that's
without
true.
A little bit of expertise.
Yeah, I'm never going to get quoted on the Blink Wikipedia because my role in this podcast has pretty much just become like, what else, Josiah?
Yeah. While you're like egging on your Twitter followers about that you'll actually listen to.
Yeah,
them.
while I'm leading them on and begging them for support for my many Patreons.
Yeah.
I'm a bad guy. Oh my god.
Yeah, who's the villain now?
Dude, this is
we
messed
should have
up.
A poll. Who's the bad one? Who's the mean one?
When this episode comes out, we'll say listen to it in its entirety and please determine. Continue to vote with your ratings.
This is a really bad tidbit that you're about to walk into. On songfacts.com,
yes,
in the explanation of the lyrics of the song, there's a section that says, "Fun fact, the original Cynics were members of a school of ancient Greek philosophers. They were contemptuous of wealth, luxury, and pleasure, believing that such things distracted from a quest for self-knowledge. Instead, they advocated the pursuit of virtue in accordance with a simple and idealistic way of life."
Right, so the Cynics were like you. They were nofap.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, someone just felt the need to put this in a... Other than that, there was the John Feldman quote about what I had already brought up, and then that, basically.
Well, can we listen to the Matt Skiba sort of isolated vocal that was, again, how I think a lot of people were first sort of hit with the cynicism of this song?
Right, yeah. Let's do it. And all I was going to say about that was just that sometimes when I hear these things out of context, it's just too like intimate or something. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I'm watching something that I shouldn't be watching.
So I'm about to love this and you're about to be very uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, exactly. Okay, here we go.
Okay, we got to stop looping it. It's terrifying. Now it feels too intimate. That was too many times.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like the whispering Travis.
Oh, yeah, it's extremely whispery. So you
I
didn't
mean,
like
yeah.
that when you saw that?
I didn't
you
actually
weren't
see
stoked.
this when it first. I didn't see this when it first came out.
Okay.
But when I was watching it, when I was researching this episode over the last few months, as I've done, because
Yeah.
we've already established what we're gonna do next months in advance.
Yeah, totally. This is all like
It's based on an algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't get to $25 a month on Patreon without using tech.
And yeah, data analytics. We're certainly using everything that we can to target fans as efficiently as possible.
So Mark Hoppus posted this actually on my wife's birthday last year. Happy birthday, Sarah.
Happy birthday.
I haven't wished her a happy birthday for the 2016 birthday yet. So happy birthday, Sarah.
There you go.
Love ya.
This was the one.
This is your gift. Yeah. And so he posted that, and I mean, is that a good indication of what the song would be like?
No, I mean it sounds. I mean, it's impossible to tell out of context, but especially the fact that it's like a halftime part. The thing that I found so interesting, and I feel like you may have also found this, is that when that came out, people were trying to, piece it together with the bits of sort of drum parts that Travis had put up and try to imagine what the song could sound like. And so I never heard this at the time, but there was someone who made what they're calling a new Blink-182 song prediction with Matt Skiba, where they've effectively built a song around that 7-second isolated vocal clip into something that I actually think sounds pretty good.
Well, I mean, we're going to listen to this in 1 second. I don't want to, again, break your heart for doing some research.
No, it's fine.
I actually have 3 of these predictions.
Are you serious?
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
I tried, man. I tried. It's fine. I'm just going to go back to my role as, secret mean one.
Yeah, secret mean one. So this one, I think they used also, videos of Travis drumming from the production of the album.
Yeah, it's like...
this is just mind-blowing that somebody would go to the effort of, just arbitrarily piecing together things to try to imagine what a song sounds like that's going to be out within a few months.
I mean, I don't think it's any more foolhardy than the paleontologist who finds bones and then pieces them together to imagine what a dinosaur might be like. I mean, that's bullshit because you get nothing from it. Whereas
you never know if you're right or not.
You'll
You
never
find
know.
out.
In fact, it sounds like they were actually wrong the entire time, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this has actual, contemporary value to society. And I salute these heroes who are much better than paleontologists.
So the first person published this video 1 day after the clip.
That's
Their
effort.
name is Mikkel Lawrence.
Salute, you're a hero.
And this person wrote, "Mark, you're such a tease. Based solely on Matt's vocals from a Twitter post, I wrote this chord progression and added some instruments to make a small prediction of how the chorus in one of the songs could end up." And they made it 3/4 time signature. So I mean, like I said last week, if you're gonna, I'm all over the place. I don't know if you should start a band or not, but I do think that if you're gonna go ahead and write fan fiction Blink-182 songs, then just make that a band.
I think you should just commit to either being a start a band or don't start a band guy, because discovering that you actually had a song called Start a Band and yet you're pulling your punches here week after week is, it frankly makes you look a little spineless.
I'm older and more grizzled now,
Well, I think this is neat.
Okay, let's hear it. So this is the first prediction that we have.
What's the point of saying sorry now? What's the point of saying sorry now?
Yeah, awesome. It actually sounds like the Tom Lord Ailge version of Down.
Yeah, kind of does. I mean, I'm glad that the song didn't end up like that and ended up being like basically a NoFX song instead.
Yeah, totally. I feel the same way. But I mean, the fact they went to the trouble of like pitch shifting his vocals to create fake harms. I'm impressed,
that's
man.
what you're. That's sorry. I gotta deal with my fucking YouTube. Okay, so that's number one.
Okay, but you
This
have
is-
more than that.
Yes, I have two more.
Oh God.
This was by Bag Up the Baker. Also uploaded the day after.
Wow. Was there this is like a race, like when an album comes out and you've got to be the first one with a hot take?
It would be cool if this was more commonly a thing. I mean, imagine if somebody got it right.
Oh.
So, okay, let's hear the second one, and then we'll get to the last one, which is easily the most ridiculous.
Tight.
Okay, here we go. Like, I don't know what kind of music that was, but that was way more like Refused or something, like very angular.
Well, I mean, if you think about where the band was taking things on unself-titled, so Forgetting Neighborhoods, they were bringing in that Fugazi angular post-hardcore vibe. And so maybe this person is dreaming of, fantasizing about, hoping to will into existence an alternate timeline where they continue to sort of follow that trajectory. And yeah, eventually, it was, Blink-182, Party Program, hardcore, techno beats. That's my Refused impression.
We're also doing a little bit of music writer intel on this episode. And if you're an aspiring music writer, I just want to give you the first thing they teach you when you go to music writer school. The first thing they tell you is that if you look at the press release, if you look at the press release and it says post anything really, post punk, post hardcore, whatever, you just have to use the word angular to describe it, and then it'll be fine. Everyone's like, oh yeah, okay, you know what you're doing. You're the next fucking Chuck Klosterman.
You will get a job at Exclaim.
No, that's my job.
You will replace Josiah. If you can use Angular
Probably.
more than Josiah,
It's a race.
yeah, it's just, that's it. But it's got to be subtle. Like, people can't really notice, but there's an algorithm constantly crawling.
The angular algorithm.
The angular
that's-
algorithm.
And look, quick side rant. There's way too many post-punk bands. That is one band that should stop being started. If you're like, I want to start a post-punk band, like, look, you're probably going to get signed, but we're all sick of it.
I just can't believe that.
No more. Ice Age is over.
It was just the idea that, like, all of a sudden every band sounded like Nirvana again for 2 years. It was tight, but it was very strange. So, stop it.
Yeah, just like come up. I wish someone would just, using their like shitty basement gear, try to start a stadium pop punk band, but still just like record like analog. Keep it shitty, but like have that mentality. Try to be the next Good Charlotte.
Well, what I want is just more bands that sound like Green Day doing their Hurricane Harvey live stream fundraiser, where they were in a tiny room on Facebook Live playing to, I think, like the built-in mic on an iPhone, sounding like, I mean, the worst suburban thing that we've rudely mocked on this podcast, 10 times worse than that, like covering Green Day. It was truly incredible and truly beautiful, and I think that is, that's how all bands should sound. Just keep doing that.
Honestly, that's my dream. I love it. Okay, so the final one of the song prediction section. The username is Conatus Studios. They took 10 days to come up with this, and that's because this is a 5-minute professionally shot and recorded video where they've written an entire song complete with like pre-chorus and chorus and bridge and like all kinds of shit. It's so long and so detailed.
But I hope it just all samples only those 7 seconds.
I wish it did.
Okay.
They've written all kinds of lyrics. People have just gone crazy with this song, doing all kinds of shit to it.
Like, you know that remix that somebody did of, I think it was 1 week, right? Where all the sounds were replaced by 1 week. So it was just like 1 week with the 1 week.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, that's what you're about to play me, is it's just a whole song built around 7 seconds of Skiba.
I mean, I think that would be you going full irony boy to want that, but this is more like what Sam really wants, which I think there's some harms coming up.
Oh,
I think.
sick.
Let's hear.
You can apologize, but I won't hear it. Our moment has ended. I give your heart back. Waiting, 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 waiting. What's the point of saying sorry now? Now. What's the point of saying sorry now? Now.
So there's 5 minutes of that.
Wow.
There's five whole minutes.
Is that a real band? Like, is that...
I can't
Who
really
did
figure
that?
it out. Like, it's named Conatus Studios. And
How many views
hang
does
on.
that have?
the members of the Swiss punk rock band Black Lemons were thrilled about it.
Oh.
Black Lemons. Thus, they wrote some anticipative cover / prediction song.
Wow. So, okay, how many views does that have?
75,000.
Holy shit, that's not bad.
Pretty good.
This like song prediction thing is like this is a real hustle.
I think it could actually become a pretty fun gimmick.
Yeah, I hope people keep this up. Maybe this is a whole thing. Are we just not aware of this? Because
The song prediction movement, I don't know.
the whole because there hasn't been.
Or as they say it, anticipative.
Holy shit. Okay, cool. That was, first of all, not the kind of pop punk that I like because it's a little too much of the one thing.
A little too clean.
Yeah,
Even coming through these earbuds, it sounded too clean.
That band wouldn't play Fest. You just gotta imagine like
Okay, you're right.
that same
I've never
band,
been,
but the guy like pretends he's been smoking his whole life, even though he's 17. That's a band I would like.
Right. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Gotta pose more.
It's almost a little more like a band that I would like. Like it sounds like Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, like you've spent much more time with Good Charlotte than I have, which is a
they're
division in
sick.
terms of taste
They're
that I
sick as
don't
fuck.
understand.
Good Charlotte is so sick.
Well, you can have your own Good Charlotte podcast to go along with your MXPX podcast.
I think I wouldn't mind actually. I have much more time than you. I'm ready to embrace this.
I think we should just, start doing the exclusives because, frankly, no one's going to give us real Patreon money just for, like, a list of notes from you that you didn't get to read on the show. But I think you should just record on your own. Like, it should just be, like,
Just me talking to myself in the bathroom. It's so dark.
Just sitting there talking about Good Charlotte and, slowly going the way of the buffalo.
Exactly.
That's great.
So while we're talking about edits of the song,
You have more? No, that was it, right?
for the predictions, yes.
But for something else, no?
There's all kinds of shit. I mean, this is peak internet that they're coming out with this album in. So people are just doing whatever they want with it. There's no rules anymore.
It's so interesting because we talked about this a little bit in our Lone Neighborhoods episode, the least popular episode of this podcast, Up All Night.
Probably because it was so heavily edited.
It's also the shortest. So apologies to everyone who wished that was an hour and a half long. But the Neighborhoods being the first record that came out in sort of an internet 1.0 era, but we're like deep into 2.0. And so people's ability to just sort of, smash and grab this song is, significantly matured in the, intervening years.
So exactly. So for some reason, somebody has squished this song together with the deluxe edition song 6/8, which is called that specifically because it's in the 6/8 time signature and for no other reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know why this guy did this, but it's Cynical and 6/8, Blink-182, but shorter because of the copyright. In the description he writes, they are bitching about the copyright, so it's shorter than the last video.
Okay, that's too bad, but
And for some reason the max res default image on this video, as they call it in tube speak, I believe.
That's just when you download the image. It's not literally called max res default.
Well, so I thought you were a real YouTuber.
No.
At all the conventions, they.
That's
No,
that's how they're
for some reason he wrote on here, "Enjoy this shit" or whatever. It was more. I don't give a fuck. So he's really upset that it was shortened because he worked this hard. So let's just hear what it sounds like in 6/8 time.
Oh, you know how like sometimes we listen to things on this show that like literally make you feel woozy, kind of, because they're just
Yeah.
so sonically disorienting. That was an unpleasant experience for me physically.
But I think it's important to really face the reality of what you're doing with your evening.
Yeah, no, thank you for helping me truly own and understand that, because that was a terrifying experience that I was worried would never end, despite knowing that it was a shortened version due to copyright. What does the longer version of that sound like?
Oh my god, I don't know. It sounds like when you're like playing a video game and you take drugs, like in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that is because I'm addicted to segues, and I found somebody who used Grand Theft Auto footage to make a full-on Blink-182 Cynical music video set in the world of Grand Theft Auto 5.
What?
But that's really not suitable for the audio medium.
No,
of,
that's a visual gag that you can share on our socials when you're not sharing spam-looking images.
That really paid off. We got 3 likes on that.
Oh,
post.
tight. Yeah. I mean, the fact that it allowed us to close out the episode so cleanly was also pretty great. But so you made a transition to something that is ultimately a visual gag. So you need to find a way out of it now.
Well, then I'll mention the other visual gag, which is that there's another DeviantArt furry situation going on with this song.
Oh, tight.
So, yeah, I mean, not much to say here, except there's some sort of wolf creature wearing high-heeled sandals, playing a lime green guitar shaped like an axe.
Yeah, it's like
the lyrics.
It's like the Gene Simmons bass, but a green guitar.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say the text of this looks like a Valentine's card that you'd give out in junior high.
Yeah, but like if you were like trying to still be like extremely masculine about it.
Yeah, or like, I'm not like actually into Valentine's Day, but like
my mom said I should give out cards or whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, so the description of this DeviantArt says, "I feel like shit right now. This is the most punk vent art."
Pardon me.
It's so punk that it made you sneeze.
Yeah, well, just seeing this furry creature just really triggered my allergies, apparently.
Yeah, so I will share this on socials, but there are a lot of disclaimers asking not to reshare the image. So
Oh. Well, maybe, just everyone just be cool about it.
yeah, like don't snitch. Come on, don't tell Rainbow Moose.
But once again, just because I need to understand, this song has the lyrics to Cynical. Sorry, this drawing has the lyrics to Cynical, drawn on it. They don't appear to be in the title or in any of the tags.
Yeah. Yes.
So I gotta know, like, how did you find this? Because to me, you're just cruising DeviantArt looking at, furry drawings now all day, and from time to time something relevant to this podcast comes up.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Oh,
I was
okay.
searching erotic fighting art, and the word fighting came up, so.
Erotic fighting. Cool, that's tight.
No, somehow it did come up with the word cynical. Well, it's because the word cynical is in the description. The lyrics are in the description.
Okay.
Is it your first day online?
It is, man. Well, no, it's my second day online. I tried to do research for this episode on the first day, but this will be my last day online because I'm just never going to bother again.
Oh, man.
You know what we didn't talk about yet? Cynically, do you feel like the drum fuck up is real?
I'm so glad that you brought that up because I have really been wrestling with that. I think that, like, does Travis fuck up? You can't even hear that he fucks up.
No, he kind of just like stops.
It fits perfectly, and then he just goes, "Wah."
Yeah, I don't buy it.
Apparently, so Feldy, my friend Feldy,
Yeah.
we go way back.
Yeah, like 40 minutes ago, I remember.
Yeah. I just bumped my. There we go. Keep that in. That was exciting.
Lots of it. You know what? I'm going to leave that in, so people get a sense of what I'm usually cutting out. It's like Josiah. Like, I have no idea.
I hope you keep your sneeze in here too.
I will. I'm going to leave it. This is just. It's too real now.
Yeah.
So you knocked over your Mountain
It's
Dew.
like it's exactly like Travis's fuck up in the song. You gotta leave it in. Warts and all, baby.
It's a tribute,
Warts
man.
and all.
That's good. This is
Well,
good.
okay, here's the thing. I do feel like even if he did fuck up, them including it and feeling like that it's so sort of spontaneous and like they're, however you hilariously mispronounced Fugazi earlier, like it's sort of like they're trying to be like, yeah, we're like live off the floor. But then whenever I've listened to this album with other people, I got so used to it, but they're always like, why is there so much auto-tune on everything? Like the vocals all sound so auto-tuned on this album to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's like slick as all hell, but then they're just gonna like include this faux fuck up to sort of seem edgy or something.
Well,
I don't know.
Again, I think this sort of speaks to this song as a framing device for this album that is perhaps designed to pull the wool over listeners like you and I, where we not ourselves, and in fact, quite cynical. You know, when they made Jurassic Park, right? They always show you like a real puppet when they establish the dinosaurs. So the first time you see the T-Rex, you're actually seeing like a massive T-Rex robot, right? And so
this is your second dinosaur reference on this episode.
yeah, I'm a 12-year-old man. I only care about dinosaurs and fire trucks.
I wonder what kind of cool dinosaur sex art I can find on these.
There's a few. There's a few real gems out there.
Okay, so carry on with this.
So the mechanism by which they sort of mixed all of the different kinds of special effects they were using was to use practical effects whenever possible in establishing shots. And then later on, when they subsequently were using, say, CGI, which was still like somewhat of a nascent technology in that field at that time, viewers' brains had already registered that the dinosaur was real, like that it felt real. So the T-Rex looks real when you first see it kind of tearing down power lines. And then later when it's careening after a Jeep, you're like, I've seen that. That's a real dinosaur. And so with Cynical, what they've done is kind of shown us the dinosaur, right? Travis fucking up is the claws of the dinosaur sort of tearing down the electric fence. And then later on, it's just the dinosaur running and it's velociraptors. And it's like, by the end of this album, you're into the Lost World 5 from a production standpoint.
Right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Thanks, man.
But further, they do this quote unquote fuck up live too. So like, it's clearly just a written part of the song. Like whatever spontaneity happened is recreated live every night of this 800-date world tour or whatever they're doing. Like,
well, yeah. Do you think he was originally just playing through it? Like, was it just a full fill? Because that wouldn't really, like, you need a pause there because it's super punchy. Like, if he just did a fill and they just came in, that doesn't seem like something that Feldy would do.
right. He probably would have added a whoa, a whoa.
There would have been more whoa-ohs somehow in this
Which
song.
is also funny because people do say they like this song because it doesn't have all of those extraneous whoa-ohs, but there literally is a whoa-oh.
Yeah, this song is like 40 seconds long and 20 of those seconds are whoa-oh-ohs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I still, when I first heard the fuck up, I thought it was charming and I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I've already said that I love this song, but you know.
I love this song too, but I think it is like there's some string pulling behind the scenes going on. You got to stay woke about this song.
it's
They
true.
wrote this at the Bilderberg Group.
So I have some covers, but I find
hang
it
on,
hard to
no,
believe that you're
we're-
done.
I'm not done. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
no, I know.
Please. So back to these philosophical origins of the word cynic. No, I'm just kidding. Not that. We're not going to do that. But I was going to ask you, you mentioned the length. And, I mean, how do you feel about the length? Because people are constantly whining that this song is too short.
No, I mean, to me, this song, knows how to use what it's got. The song pays attention to me, listens to, my needs as a listener. And so it doesn't matter if it's like not, as long as some of the others. I still get what I need, thanks to the efforts of the song.
Right. They're very loving.
Yeah, it is fan service, right? Like that's sort of what this song is. Like I'm
That's your vibe.
yeah, exactly.
No, but this is why I love Tony Molina, because his songs are like 30 seconds long, and I actually don't think it's possible for a song to be too short in general in life. Like we all have places to be. Whatever idea you have, first of all, doesn't need to be repeated, but second of all, when you make a song short, it's so much more exciting and you're desperate for more, and then you listen to it over and over again and it's like more addicting because it's short.
And I suspect that your Spotify royalties, would reflect the fact that in order for people to hear those hooks, like I bet Tony Molina is actually quite a cynical businessman and just saw his royalty statements and was like, nah, dog, not today. And
possibly.
Yeah, it was just like, I'm going to make people have to listen to this album 100 times in order to feel like they've had one normal album.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't thinking it of in terms of monetizing the internet, which I think is your expertise as our pitiful Patreon that I'm running is proving.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I never even thought of that. But I do think even just viscerally, you want to listen to it again because you're like, damn, what just happened? That was so exciting. I mean, my wife and I both feel this way about all the movies we watch, but every movie could and should be shorter. Like,
movies should be 85 minutes, maybe. Yeah, like under 90 minutes. I want everything to be basically straight to video length. Like you ran out of money and it's 70 minutes somehow.
Yeah, I sometimes think tweets are too long. You know what I mean? Like, just like get to the fucking point. Stop wasting my time. I have a podcast to research.
Yeah, you clearly have a lot to do.
But despite that, people really, and also like, what medium are you listening to this on that you can't just play the song again very easily? Like, are you listening to a lathe that disintegrates every time you play it? So you need to.
Oh no, not again. I mean, maybe this just speaks to sort of people coming to this band from very different points of view, because even though Blink was, I'm sure for both of us, like very much a gateway punk band, I'm not going to pretend that I listened to the Descendants before I listened to Blink. Ultimately,
I started with Discharge.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot that you were sort of true D-beat. Before eventually falling
UK
for
82,
Good Charlotte.
and then yeah, exactly.
But if you kind of were immersed in those bands, in your formative musical years, that's just sort of how you think that this song is supposed to sound. Whereas I think if you came to Blink and kind of stopped there, if you came to them through like all the small things, but this does feel like a tip of the hat.
Yeah, all the small things totally feel like that song feels like it's about 3 hours long.
Oh yeah. And our podcast, when we eventually get to that song, should be like half a day of just misery and toil. This is like, this is a Descendants type, like get in, get out. You've got a simple idea, express it. It doesn't need to be repeated. It's so strange to me that there are mixes of this where it's like Cynical, the extended version. And I grabbed a few thinking that maybe we'd listen to them. And then I realized all people did was like loop it at the drum fill. So it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, there was one that I found, but we won't play it because I didn't actually take notes. But someone did like write a whole new verse, and like again, that's just so weird. Like, how do you get in that mindset? How do you go into Matt Skiba's divorce and come up with new lyrics about it?
I mean, how many of you have divorced Matt Skiba's wife? Like, it just seems not fair to try to hop into, his voice.
Exactly, but. There was an extended version. So we've brought them up before on the Up All Night episode. This Swedish band Future Idiots.
Yeah.
They're hell bent on improving Blink 182.
Why is this their
thing? Don't necessarily need to be improved upon. And so they've created an extended version of Cynical that also utilizes the hammer-on guitar part from Bohemian Rhapsody,
which is another song that's like too short, right?
Well. In quotation marks.
Yes, sorry.
But yeah, I mean, well, maybe you think it's too short. We'll get to that episode when we get to it.
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
Sam.
Sorry.
But yeah, so I did queue up a part of this. I think it's not the not the Bohemian Rhapsody part, but it's just like this is just a weird, kind of unnecessary, I guess, kind of interesting thing. But there's just so much like audio fan fiction for Blink-182 that exists. I'm learning.
That's an interesting way of presenting it. You're totally right. This is that. It's like Wattpad. Like SoundCloud is Wattpad for these people.
Yeah, like I mean, last week it was like, what if this song had a guitar solo? Like, okay, I never really thought of that. Like, what if Sonic and Tails fucked? We all wonder these things happen on the internet that like no one goes through their life ever thinking about it.
Yeah.
So here's part of Future Idiots improving upon Cynical, and they've made it 3 minutes long. Like, I don't know what is going on. Here we go.
Okay.
Cynical feelings that I should give up. It's everything you'll ever see. There's a moment of panic when I hear the phone ring. Anxiety's calling in my head. Is it back again? Are you back again? What's the point of saying sorry now?
That, I mean, that wasn't even the part with. I'll play you the start of it as
Yeah,
well.
you
but I
should
wanted
play
to
the
show you
start
that-
because
that-
I think
there's
that's-
there's that like they've created this unnecessary breakdown that like that just sounded like kind of like Newfound Glory, but not in a good way.
Yeah, it's I don't think I even got that far in it when I listened to it. I was just more blown away by their approach to the opening of the song.
Yeah, so okay, I've skipped ahead to the breakdown, but here's the opening. This is it's so long that we've had to break it up into 2 sections to even talk about it on our podcast that has no time limit.
Yeah, well, it should, but that's fine.
There's a cynical feeling saying I should give up, said everything you'll ever say. Whoa, there's a moment of panic when
I have to stop it there. I mean, that's making me feel woozy.
Yeah, so not only are they putting the Bohemian Rhapsody hammer on at the front of the song, but then they're putting the lyrics from the quiet intro into the melody of the sort of loud part of the song. It's the whole thing is like extremely disorienting. But I love that that's just this band's thing now.
Yeah, like they have all kinds of they've done it with Bored to Death as well, and I don't know.
I can't wait because I had no idea. So I'm looking forward to this now every episode, assuming that they've somehow done an improvement on it.
I know, like it is sort of kind of egotistical, and also again, like the song does not need to be longer. If anything, it makes you realize that like the parts of the song that are in place are almost they become too generic when they get repeated.
Yeah, it's just like I think this band and Feldy knew what they were doing. You just like it's A, B, C, and you're done. I do think that there's an important part of this song that I want to talk about, though, which is when New Noise magazine premiered it. There's a quote from the band kind of explaining how it came together. Which
Here's some research I didn't find.
Okay, so
That's pretty good.
Okay, so here's the quote from guitarist and vocalist Marius Paxkow, which is an incredible name. We just finished playing Amsterdam's Blinkfest, a concert that was set up to celebrate the legacy of Blink-182. The reception we got at the concert was so immense that it rejuvenated us and revitalized that initial passion that we all had as a new band. With that new inspiration, we thought we'd pay homage in our own way by recording a cover of Blink-182's best song in recent years. So a few thoughts. One, Blinkfest. Invite us to your festival. Everyone loves a live podcast. It's a thing that people are doing and attending and being excited about for some reason.
I just got so excited for a second because I'm literally going to Amsterdam in 2 weeks.
You got to find the organizers of Blinkfest.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like Blinkfest happens in January, but I could just stay there for a few months.
I think you should just get situated, get to know the locals, catch a vibe. I'll come over when I
Tickets
can.
to Blinkfest. That'll be my panhandling sign.
Exactly. So But yeah, Blinkfest, get at us. We're happy to cover part of our airfare.
We won't bring the mean one.
Ooh.
Which one? Whichever one.
What exactly? What does that mean? But I just love the idea that this band was maybe, like, from the way this sounds, kind of like, we're done with this shtick. We're done as a band. But then they went to a festival, played a bunch of Blink covers, and they were so re-energized by the reception that they got that they went and did this fucking thing.
Right. I mean, I guess that really is a very nice, earnest, happy ending.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's a nice story, I think.
Or do you think they were just combing the web and they're like, people want this to be longer, so let's give them what they want?
I think they obviously are also attuned to the algorithm like us, all of their decisions dictated by data and analytics.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wouldn't be an episode if I hadn't found something incredibly unnecessary to share with you.
Okay, is this your sort of
this is, I think, this
scraping
week's
the
probably,
bottom?
Yeah, this is this week's rock bottom. I think.
Okay.
That's a new segment officially as of right now. Rock bottom.
I think it should have a sound effects like the identity politics siren, where it's like the sound of that, like it's like the ship coming in, but it's like a ship sort of falling apart. Bodies smashing against the propeller as it upends.
Or just like a sad, dejected sigh from both of our wives at once.
Oh man, for a while, I actually think Ashley was out and so experienced some degree of peace in her life. But I think she's back home now and unfortunately listening to this.
Yeah, well, she should have thought of that before she signed up for this.
I think so, yeah. But I wonder if that, like, if I violated our prenup by starting a Blink-182 podcast, I should probably go back and read it.
Oh, you said Prenup. That's the name of my new band. Check it out.
Oh, hey, good segue. I actually also we didn't sign a prenup. It was just a joke.
Yeah, right.
Love to joke. Okay, so what's your?
Well, this has been some pretty bad
rock
banter.
bottom?
So for some reason, this guy thought it'd be funny to upload him playing California on vinyl on his grandparents' Motorola vinyl cabinet purchased in 1958 that was living at their home in Oahu, Hawaii for 50 years before he inherited it. Now we use it for all of our vinyl, including Blink-182's new record, California. So this is the song Cynical, played at 78 RPM for no reason.
Well, for out of respect for his grandparents.
I guess I'm really missing that angle, the heartwarming angle.
As well, I understand how, like, your own complicated relationship with your father sort of clouds the way you see other people's familiar relationships. Yeah. But
that has really become a narrative that people are going with.
I know. I just want to make sure to kind of continue it.
Yeah, it's good.
Thanks.
It's good. All right, so let's hear what this wonderful video sounds like. I mean, I like it.
This guy's grandparents invented Nightcore.
I think so, yeah.
That's sick.
He really forgot to include that in the write-up. But
no, he could definitely get more clicks if he just offering some advice here, buddy, from one internet content creator to another. The kids love Nightcore. Just put it in there, tag it or something.
Yeah, I mean, he was only at 353 views as of right now, so I think you're right. I did notice, like, this week, I'm sure you know, YouTube has changed their layout, and I don't really like it.
It's this infinite scroll, right?
I think they're trying to hide the mean comments.
Well, I didn't notice that. What I noticed was looking up covers of the song. Typically, and we've discussed this, I'll give up after like 10 pages, I'll say like,
oh, right.
I'm just seeing, sad men my own age in a basement, like where it looks like they're being held hostage, doing guitar covers of the song. I don't need this in my life anymore. I'm already sad enough. But then they've they've taken that feature away, so it's an infinite scroll. So you don't realize like that for 15 minutes you've just been scrolling past these.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You're talking. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
these-
talking about when you're on the video and you scroll down because you want to see some fighting, as one does.
Yeah.
You have to scroll forever because all the teased videos are like underneath the video, and then finally you get to the show more section, and then you can see the hurtful comments being made to one another.
As a person that has been, the subject of some internet scorn, I think this is a great change, and I salute YouTube for standing up to trolls and bullies.
I will say I'm glad that I did scroll down on this video because somebody has commented and just said fake.
What?
And then David Parker, who uploaded it, said fake how?
And did this person ever address their criticism or
No,
not?
that was the entirety of their exchange.
Fuck. So,
I think having just watched the video again, I think it's very real.
so you are not disputing the veracity of his claim that. Does it show like this old timey, record cabinet playing the?
It
the
does,
vinyl?
yeah. There's like a very metallic looking arm that he pulls over and drops on. You hear that warm crackle.
Yeah, you really can. That section, like what you just played, is I think a true testament to the power of vinyl, and that it's the only way to listen to real music. The only real way to listen to real music.
I don't know if you know this, but vinyls are really making a comeback right now.
I've heard through
And,
you
like,
on Twitter and stuff.
I fucking sold all my vinyls back in the day. I had all of them, Fleetwood Mac and Steely Dan and all the fucking vinyls. But fuck, if I had known, I wouldn't have fucking thrown them out. Could have been loaded from the vinyls.
It's sad. It's sad to think about. But I don't want you to go back to.
That is what it's like to work in a record store in 2017.
Right.
Just so you know.
I don't want you to go back to your down place again. So
Yeah.
let's not think about what could have been.
I mean, I don't know. Like, do you want to like comment on anything about what that video means to you that I just played? Like, I feel like you're being a little bit surfacey about this video, and I just want to know like how it resonated with you as a person.
Well, I mean, again, I think it speaks to the way that family binds us, and that there is, a line that you can draw from, our forefathers, to the present day. That even when we don't see it, there is this connective tissue that brings your cabinet to a record that would eventually be released with a deluxe track called "Can't Get You More Pregnant," and that is a beautiful gift from Blink to our families.
That's beautiful.
Thanks, man.
Also, I'm pretty sure, just to bring it all together, the movie Jurassic Park was shot in Oahu, where this record player was rescued from.
Did you
Yes.
did you Google that? Like, why the hell do you know where Jurassic Park was shot?
I just because the one time I went to Hawaii, we drove by some Jurassic Park shooting locations, and it was in Oahu. So
wow,
this is really some. Damn.
Wow. Well, and so between that and the Matt Skiba's ex-wife, who the song is about being in the lyric video for
Basically,
days.
at this point of listening to the podcast, your Bristol board with pegs and strings connecting photos should be just about complete.
Yeah. This is basically Lost, though. We're sort of creating a full universe where there's none of these connections will ever truly mean anything, or ever
Or
be.
will they?
So that's good. So okay, I couldn't find one of the covers I found was that Future Idiots one. I mean, obviously, as you saw, there's a lot of, ukulele and acoustic and drum covers and sort of, guys in their garage who kind of look like Tim Armstrong from Rancid.
Maybe it was him.
It might have been. The guy had a poster of Heisenberg with "I am the one who knocks," and I was like, "This dude is definitely my age. This guy is definitely my age."
You don't have that up in your house?
I do. I have many, along with all my Drake posters. I have many Breaking Bad posters. I have one that is made to look like a, Shepherd Fairley.
Shepherd Ferry, yeah.
But it's him, Heisenberg. It just says cook instead of hope. I've got that one.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but he's covered in like Russian prison tattoos. It's so sick.
Yeah, I mean, Breaking Bad is the greatest TV show of all time.
It is, yeah. Well, no, that's the Wire, my dude. So, one of the things that I found for the first time in looking up covers for this song is similar to the sort of song prediction subculture that I was previously unaware of. There seems to be several, because at first I thought it was just this one, but I found at least one more. Covers of new Blink-182 songs featuring quote-unquote Tom, where it's just someone doing like an impression of Tom over the song.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the one I heard. I was like, this is dumb and not funny. And then, I mean, I'm not going to lie. This one did make me laugh. And so this is a cover of Cynical featuring Tom. And it's ostensibly published by Tom. Like it, the description is like, sorry for the wait. I was busy UFOing, et cetera, et cetera. So this person has truly sort of inhabited the character of Tom for the purpose of recording this masterful version of Cynical.
Although they really lift the veil in the next sentence when they say, I want to cover more songs, but I can't find instrumentals. Well, I guess that could still be in character as Tom.
Yeah, this is a Tom cover. So that's Tom.
Despite the fact that it links to his personal Facebook page.
I mean, again, Tom's a complicated guy, and maybe this is just how he kind of acts out.
All right. Yeah, let's hear Tom's version of Cynical.
There's a thing I feel insane, I should give up. You say everything you ever say. There's a moment of panic when I hear the phone ring. Inside it's calling in my head. Is he back again? Are you back again?
I don't know. Does it more happen?
No, I mean, that's you kind of caught the vibe.
Yeah. I do. I like it, but I like it because it sounds nothing like Tom. It's so stupidly exaggerated that it becomes great again.
Yeah, it's certainly, and I think other ones I heard were maybe more earnest attempts at kind of like contemporary Tom impressions, which is like a little shooting fish in a barrel because he just sounds that way. Whereas this one is so ludicrous. It sounds like, do you remember Grum Lee?
Oh, the name is familiar.
So Grum Lee used to do covers, and this was like all pre YouTube and pre SoundCloud and whatever. Like he just had his own video or his own website. This is a Grum Lee Linkin Park cover, and I honestly now believe that person is maybe this person as well.
Okay, or at least they've invented a genre.
Yeah, exactly.
In this Linkin Park cover, they've written "Rest in Peace, Chester" in the description.
Oh,
so I assume what I'm about to play is very respectful to the legacy.
Highly respectful, yeah.
Okay.
I cannot take this anymore. I'm saying everything I've said before. All these words, they make no sense. I find bliss in ignorance. Less I hear, the less you...
But like it'll go back to the actual song in sort of key parts. And again, this is all like, that's like old internet shit.
Right. Well, I mean, I think I've always like this kind of stuff is what people refer to as shit posting, I think.
Yeah, but listening to it now, honestly, I was like, oh, it sounds like so many other people's, like, it sounds like some shitpost garbage. But imagine hearing that like 8 years ago.
Oh, exactly. But I was just going to say, I've always resented the term shit posting because to me, that's just posting. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there should be no line.
No, it's true. That's just like a pure post.
Exactly.
Now,
so is that your only cover?
No, well, so I have two others I'll just let you pick one because neither one of them is particularly spectacular. One is an orchestral cover and one is an 8-bit cover, which we haven't returned to that well in a while. So I just figured I'd grab one. What are you feeling?
I like the sound. Well, I've already listened to the 8-bit one, I think, but I like the sound of orchestral.
Well,
absolutely.
Let's class up the pod a little bit.
Yeah, jeez.
Because gotta say, like, Grumley not really doing it. Multiple sort of song predictions not doing it.
Yeah, exactly. We need to really. We have a swanky clientele.
Exactly. Well, it's one of those things where we need more high income listeners to help boost the Patreon numbers.
Yeah, so if you know anyone who wears a monocle, show them this time code of the podcast, whatever we're at.
Yeah, show them like
3 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, here we go. Orchestral cover.
Like, why? Like, it's so good. And then they just make it into like a punk orchestral. It's so confounding why that decision was made.
The drums, without the drums, it would have been delightful.
Yeah, so
it's like it sounded like new Coldplay kind of.
it was very like, yeah, it's the kind of thing that like someone would match to a video of an autistic kid doing something inspiring and you would cry.
Exactly. And then now with the drums, it just sounds absurd.
Yeah.
It really sometimes when you hear like pop punk drums outside of a pop punk song, you realize just how stupid they are.
Yeah.
Like they're just so dumb.
It does sort of lay bare the foolishness of playing a song that way, but
that's yeah, wow.
Yeah, so that's it for me, man.
Well, I didn't really find too much great stuff either, but I did find one that I'd like to share with you.
You didn't find anything good, but that's not going to stop you.
Exactly, it never has. This is made. I just want you to see the again max res default on this puppy.
Give me that MRD.
It's really good drawing interpretation of the album cover.
Oh my God. Okay, so you definitely got to share that MRD on the socials because this is like,
it's almost hard to describe. It's like a stick man who looks like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
And then a crying angel lady holding a wrench.
Yeah, with like a wrench hand.
And it looks like it was taken with like a flip phone camera.
Yeah, it looks like a crime scene photo. I saw this art while scanning for covers today and did not even realize that it was a children's drawing of the cover. Now, if this is
this is the sign, like this, I think you emphasize that you think I'm going so deep, but I also think it's about where you click. And when I see something that makes me think of some sort of horrific crime scene, as you've aptly described it, that's when I'll click. Because I mean, what you see this and you think, what does this sound like?
And what does it sound like, Josiah?
Honestly, it doesn't really live up to the picture, but it does sound quite interesting. It's very well. Let's just hear what Travis Yoakum has done in this video. We're about to be the 61st view on it.
Oh, tight.
I really do love it, actually.
I mean, the fact that it sort of makes the same mistake as the orchestral version, where like you could have just kept doing that weird, like I'm in grade 8 and I've heard one vaporwave song.
Yeah, well, to me, the start sounds very like I was saying. There's too many post-punk bands lately, but that does sound like some sort of like creepy, fucking weird post-punk shit that would come out on like Superior Viaduct or something. Just like some like really dark, like you're just like, where does this person? What era is this from? Like, who is this mysterious person behind this music? But then, yeah, when the drums come in, it's so like
Yeah, I feel again fully disoriented.
But having said that, the aesthetic, the imagery matched with that weird bass tone at the start, even matched with the surprise of the exploding drums. I would like to hear more from this person.
Well, let's encourage them to cover songs that we haven't talked about yet. The remaining like 100.
We're almost done. The podcast is almost done.
The remaining 146 songs.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. Okay, Josiah, final thoughts on Cynical by Blink-182.
I just don't want this podcast to end.
Well, my final thought.
It's only been 93 minutes.
I'm happy to jump in here.
I just want to stay here. My final thought is that it's very funny that I was complaining that everything's too long, and yet maybe my ego is just so big that to just be able to sit here and say whatever comes to mind about something that genuinely doesn't matter, I just never want it to end.
Yeah, there was a few moments of truly like I think beautiful sort of disassociation where we discussed things that were too long and should just know when to stop. I think we discussed the unnecessary lengths that others have gone to in tribute to this band. Our lack of self-awareness is truly staggering, and I never want that to change.
No, I mean, I think that I stand by everything I've said because I think that this work is vital and crucial for the furtherment of humanity.
Yeah, that's true. We must. What are the 14
Furtherment.
words? We must secure a future for the song "Cynical" and our grandparents to listen to it on old timey record cabinets.
Yeah, Hawaii, sponsored by Hawaii. So travel Hawaii.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park was shot there. I can't remember how that has to do with anything we've talked about, but it does.
It was good, man. It was a really good metaphor, but I talked for like 5 minutes, so it's fine.
What are your final thoughts, Sam?
Oh, God, that was good. My final thought is that I can't wait till we actually discuss Matt Skiba's involvement in this band because I have so many Skiba opinions. But we'll save that for when we're on like our 18th California episode because Lord knows there are a lot of songs on this record eventually.
Yeah, there's a cynical feeling saying that maybe they should have given up.